everyone. I'm Ana Sofia Costa, and I'm going to be talking about the Public Health Cigarette Smoking Act and its effects on American advertising in recent generations. Especially in the 50s and 60s, it was tobacco smoking was a big deal, and it was there were higher rates of per capita in the range of the 1940s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. With this in mind, advertising and promotion agencies took advantage of new mediums of promotion, such as television and radio, to advertise their products. Tobacco companies were the grand leaders in advertising, and according to the Cancer Control and Population Sciences Division of the National Cancer Institute. I'm going to discuss on how some of the various changes in the law and publicity influence Americans' ways of thinking, in terms of tobacco smoking. So, okay, in the 60s, smoking was considered a very ordinary and daily thing. You were allowed to smoke on an elevator, on the airplane, your doctor smoked, even the nanny smoked that watched your kids. So, according to Gene Boyle from tobacco.org, the Surgeon General came out with his report and found that cigarette smoking was hazardous to your health and caused lung cancer and chronic bronchitis. So what happened in consequence to that was that the Cigarette Labeling and Advertising Act was passed. And basically this act called for the fact that a label should be on every cigarette package sold. And it basically said that it was hazardous to your health. Furthermore, counter-advertisements, which are anti-smoking, became a larger deal in that era, and smoking decreased for a bit. But the Public Health Cigarette Smoking Act came out in 1970, and it called for mediums such as television and radio to not promote tobacco products. It was completely banned. So what did tobacco companies do in terms of that was that they targeted a broader range of consumers through newspaper and magazine ads. For instance, Virginia Slims, which is a tobacco brand, started targeting women. And what they did here is, this was in the 70s, so women were going through feminism movements and women empowerment, and so the tobacco company was like, okay, let's target women. And so it actually really worked, and women's sales rose. So in the 1980s, tobacco companies were like, let's target children, which is actually really sad, but true. And Camel introduced a campaign called Joe Camel. And as you can see here, it is really targeted towards children because it's a cartoon character, it's a race car driver, there's vivid colors, so many children would probably appeal to it. And it's true. There was a study by the Journal of American Medical Association, and it basically said that children identified Joe Camel more than Mickey Mouse or Fred Flintstone. Here all you can see is that cigarette consumption has decreased over time due to the fact that anti-smoking has become more of a trend, and it's been more publicized recently in the media. So as you can see here, between 1965 and 2020, this is predicted cigarette consumption is going to be lower. So as I said before, anti-smoking has become a trend in recent years. Now on TV you don't see cigarette ads, you see anti-smoking ads. On MTV you have the Ugly Truth commercials, which promote anti-smoking awareness in very vivid ways. And also you see tobaccofreeflorida.org commercials, and they're very unappealing and they're kind of scary. So children nowadays are very scared of smoking. They see it as unappealing. And by a show of hands, how many of you people smoke? Okay, so we have one, which is very different to how many hands would be raised in the 1960s, since smoking was glamorized. So yeah, thank you all for listening, and I hope you have a great afternoon.